Tennessee Titans, this is the worst team in the NFL, and it's not close. They're in a tier of their own right now. And Cam Ward, after the game, and I quote him, "We're keeping it a buck right now, we ass."
We 0-4. We have, this point, we got nothing to lose. We dropped a quarter of our games, and we've yet to do anything. So
we have to lock in.
I respect it.
That's what you want your franchise quarterback to say when you are absolutely asked. Welcome to the opening bell of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. Trevor, Sikkema, Connor Rogers here for another power ranking episode. You guys liked it. You requested it. And so we're bringing it back here. Post week 4, sort of. We have a Monday night doubleheader that we can't factor into these power rankings quite yet, but maybe we'll talk about some of those teams as we talk about the movement up and down from what we had in our inaugural edition of the program last week. Connor, how are we feeling, my friend?
I'm good, man. And kind of another week in the books. It's a weird one, right? Because as much as maybe they aren't power ranking, variables for the top of the rankings, the doubleheader on Monday night will have some ramifications and some weird groupings. So, but overall, some upsets on week 4 on Sunday that, the fun of this is, Trevor, like, how much of the upsets affect your power rankings? How much did they affect mine? Because last week we talked about, hey, the Browns beat the Packers, but we still view the Packers a certain way. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting here saying like, hey, I know the Ravens are playing tonight, but I'm not buying into the Ravens' struggles. And the Ravens looked like a totally different team since I said that in these last 2 games. So it just goes to show you how quickly things can really change this early in the NFL season when you're still trying to figure out what every team is right now.
Yeah, so if you didn't listen to the first edition of Power Rankings that we had last week, the way that we go through these is, yes, we're going to give you in order our 1 through 32 power rankings of all the teams in the NFL. We'll use that as a little bit of a recap from what we saw this past week. We'll also talk about maybe where they are up versus down versus where we had them last week, since now we have some more episodes that we get to stack on top of that. But ultimately, we throw a little stock market feel into it with buy or sell. And we update the DraftKings odds for the over-under win totals on all these teams. And Connor, we had a handful of them that change over the last, week or so, 8 or 9 days for some of these teams. Like you mentioned, for the Ravens, we've had 2 games since then. But we try to get the updated odds, or for the over-unders, the Monday morning that we're recording this. And so recording it a little bit earlier in the day this time around. So hopefully actually this episode's out to you guys a little bit earlier. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. But that's the format that we're going with here. Connor, like I did last week, I'll let you kick it off, my friend. Let's do increments of 8. So
yes, 32 to 25.
32 to 25. That's how math works. Go ahead.
We're very good at math on this show.
We're doing good.
Listen, man, we unfortunately might have a basement dweller here at 32. I think the Titans are in a league of their own. I hope this changes. I expected them to be better.
Me too.
Because I'm a believer in Cam Ward. I thought this defense would be better. It just feels like, at least me personally, I underestimated how poorly this coaching staff it was going to fare. So, the Titans, they haven't won a game, but there's plenty of teams that haven't won a game or have won 1 game, and that you could point out certain things that you have felt good about. Unfortunately, with the Titans, there's not a lot of that. 31, the team that might have the biggest mirage win of the year is the Carolina Panthers.
This is what you have them at 31 too? So do I. I dropped them to 31 as well.
It's what they do to the Falcons, and they give you like an ounce of hope. And then you just get punked by the Patriots, who had not really looked good leading up to this. And there's a lot of good for the Patriots in that game. But if you're the Panthers, if you lost, it's one thing because New England is a better team than you. But you weren't even competitive ever. 30, the New Orleans Saints, who I have at 30, but are a very odd buy situation for me, Trevor. It's very strange.
The rare third worst team in the NFL that you are buying. Only on the NFL Stock Exchange, folks.
Because in context, that we'll try to keep reminding people, but it is hilarious to say if it was just clipped out in that sense. Their win total's 4.5.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And yes, they have not won a game, but I watched the tape of this game this morning. And there are really good things about the Saints right now against the Bills.
Against the Bills!
Again, like they offensively, scheme-wise, performance-wise, Kendre Miller signs of life, offensive line, some signs of life. I'm a buy for the Saints. I think there's a world where they can get to 5 wins, but we'll see. The bar is so low.
I'm a hold for them at 4.5.
Yeah.
But if I were to be giving a buy or sell, I would be giving a buy for this team. Like if we didn't have holds for this team, because 4.5, look, they're 0-4. They're clearly not going to be super competitive. But I do think the win total is either 4 or 5 for this team. Like I don't think they're going to win 2 games. I think that we'll get a couple of wins here soon for the New Orleans Saints. So this is it. You are right. I like this power ranking format and how we're doing it in terms of buy or sell. Because if we weren't, we would just be like, the Saints, they're 30th. They're cheats.
Like every NFL show understandably probably does.
Right. So that's why I like the buy or sell element of kind of what we're going through here. Because I totally agree with you. I watch the Saints every single week and I go, yeah, they lost, but I had
Could
fun.
Be worse.
You know, like
yeah.
like
I've watched a lot worse.
It was not the worst football that I saw this weekend. Spencer Rattler, I feel bad for Spencer Rattler because like there's 2 sides of the conversation, right? If he was on a different team, would he get the opportunity to start? Probably not.
No.
But it does kind of suck that like he's getting an opportunity in the NFL, and it's for a team that's very clearly just not there yet. And that,
right.
I can understand that part is frustrating as well. You have some rookies over the last couple of years who haven't necessarily broken out the way that you want to. Obviously, Trevor Penning, Brian Brzee, like guys like that.
Right.
But there are signs of life from this team. And I don't think that Kellen Moore is doing a horrendous job. I think that he's kind of trying to make the most of the ingredients that he's been given. But I didn't plan on spending time on the Saints, but I just wanted to say I agree with you. Like I watched this team, and I actually think they're a pretty decent football team, all things considered, where their roster is.
I think they could win 2 of their next 6. They have the Giants, Patriots, Bears, Bucks, Rams, and Panthers.
Yeah.
I think they can win 2 of the 6. The problem is if you're on the sell side for the Saints, I would imagine your argument is, although they never do this, they should be selling off pieces at the trade deadline. They should be.
Sure.
But they have never given us proof that that's something they're willing to do. 29.
They will be buyers at the deadline.
Third round pick for a third corner. Like something just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
They're going to trade for Reek Woolen.
Yeah,
they're going to be the team that trades for Reek Woolen.
They're the team that trades for Reek
That was
Woolen.
it. That was the one piece we were.
Oh, my
Playoffs,
God.
here we come, baby.
So, Monday Night Football preview back-to-back. 29 the Jets, 28 the Dolphins.
Okay.
And obviously, and this is almost a coin. I know the Dolphins opened as a 2.5-point favorite. I don't know where it's going to finalize. The Jets are on the road, so you built in a 1.5. So Vegas thinks the Dolphins are a point better than the Jets. I think that's totally fair. The Jets never play well against Tua and this scheme. So I had the Jets at 29. I have the Dolphins at 28. But if the Jets win, with their schedule starting to lighten up, that would give them some momentum. But they haven't been able to close games.
Yeah,
it's been 2 of the 3 games they haven't been able to close.
If the Jets win this game, we're getting dangerously close to first episode of Fix Your Franchise here in 2025, right? I mean like the Dolphins would I got to think that we're getting close if they go to 0-5 on the season. Or no, that would be 0-4 for 0-4, excuse me. If they go to 0-4 on the season and they lose at home to the Jets, like that, you're starting because their over-under for wins was 7.5 to start the season. And like we talked about on last week's episode, it's 5.5 now. It hasn't moved, obviously, because they haven't played, but you are going in the wrong direction fast. And if they can't beat the Jets, man, there's just not many teams that you look at their schedule and go, yeah, we feel good about that. I instead think they'll start to turn the page pretty quickly.
Yep. I think if they do lose to the Jets on their home field, there's a good chance they clean house. Like, instantly. There's a chance. So, 27, the other New York team, the Giants get their first win.
Hey!
Big win against the Chargers and Jackson Dart's first start. I thought the defense played very, very well in this game. The team had new life. The crowd was really into it. It is awful that Malik Neighbors has a potentially torn ACL.
Yeah.
So the Giants are at 27. That's only going to make life a lot harder. But it was good to see this defense have some life. Dart gave them a lot of life on that first drive. Giants are at 27. 26, the Cleveland Browns, who I will talk about.
Okay.
And then just to close it out, 25, the Las Vegas Raiders, who they're a hold for me, but man, they are dangerously close to a sell. I'm holding because I love that Genti got going, but it's just, man, they have a lot of problems in the secondary, and losing that game in that fashion is such a gut punch. They were a 6.5 win team to open the year. I believe they're at 6.5 now.
Yeah, they were at 7.5 last week,
right?
and then
they dropped this week though because of this loss.
Yeah.
So I'll go quickly on the Browns, and then we'll get to your bottom of the bracket. The Browns right now have actually gained a game in their win total. They were 4.5 before the year. They're 5.5 now. Yeah, clap it up. 5.5. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're all applauding in your living rooms or wherever you are watching or listening to the show. And it's a good time to remind you all, if you are watching the show, to subscribe.
There it is. Boom. Hey, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. And if you are, do us a big favor. Double check to see if you're subscribed to the channel, because I feel like I've read so many comments or replies of people who are saying, oh my gosh, I've watched so many of your videos, I didn't even realize that I wasn't subscribed. It's a free, easy way to support the show, and we would really appreciate it. Whether it's been college football, NFL football, or of course, NFL draft talk, you guys have built such an awesome community, and we would love for everybody out there to join by being a subscriber. It's a really cool way to also get involved in the show so we can make the content that you want, so we could be the best NFL draft channel out there. Appreciate all you guys. Let's get back to it.
Yes, take a bow, me. Cleveland Browns at 26. Man, they are 1-3. And the Lions are on a warpath because they've just been the most pissed off team in the NFL since their week 1 loss.
They have.
But this defense has so much talent up front still. They do. I just think the reason, and they're a hold, the reason I want to talk about them, Trevor, it's got to be time to start getting a look at some of these other quarterbacks. I don't really know. The selling point of starting Joe Flacco is it's a veteran. He knows your offense. We have a 2-time coach of the year in Kevin Stefanski. Can we surprise some people and go on a little bit of a run here? It hasn't resulted.
Did we get an explanation for the pick, the interception that he threw to Kirby Joseph on the sideline?
The pop-up?
Yeah, the 500 dead or alive throw that he was just yep.
I think, so I watched it back pre-snap, and I think he just thought he had the matchup on a go. And there was clearly no one else on the same page. But I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be in that room.
Yeah.
He just threw it up.
It was just one of the strangest plays of the week. Yeah, and
of the year.
And the whole, that's true. And the whole, well, we didn't even get to AD Mitchell yet with the Colts.
Oh God, an AD Mitchell experience.
We're on the ride, folks. Buckle
Sick catch. Fumble before the goal line. Hold on, a Jonathan Taylor 50-yard touchdown run.
I missed this play. I missed it live. And I was reading on Twitter that somebody was like, oh no, AD Mitchell dropped the ball before he got in the end zone. And I was like, do we do the thing again where they do
the Malachi Corley to Sean Jackson?
And they did Sean Jackson. They just throw it behind them before, which I get irrationally angry about, even if it's not my team that does it. It's just score. If anything, you would want to hold on to the ball longer. Whatever.
I think I'd hold the ball until I run into the padding of the wall. And then I would know I'm safe. I'd run through the end zone, through the out of bounds, and I'd smash into the wall to know that I scored.
Smart. Yeah, good. Dislocate your shoulder, but hey.
But I scored.
You scored, and you held on to the ball.
Nobody could ever take that away from me the rest of my life.
But him running into the end zone, trying to put it in the other hand, and then just point into the end zone, but dropping it is just the most gut-wrenching way. Because again, you're hardly even celebrating, right?
Yeah.
You're literally just putting it in your other hand and kind of putting it up as you're crossing the line.
Don't do that. I don't know what to say.
Clearly.
I don't really know what else to say. Just with the Browns,
Scattaboo, Tyler Warren,
yes,
2 hands on it like this. This is how you score every touchdown. I don't care
1950s football
bomb or a 1 yard
and then
score.
Look, you have to tip your cap to Cam Scattaboo. He scores every touchdown like he's a fullback, But then as soon as he knows he's in, he's got the most batshit celebrations ready to go on the MetLife turf. He's doing backflips. He's doing dances. It's like Cirque du Soleil. Like, it's just absolutely nuts with Cam Scatterbo. But he makes sure he scores with both hands on the ball before he does.
We're going to talk about the Giants when I go through my top 8.
Nice.
So we'll get more Cam Scatterbo talk.
I just think the Browns, I really like what I see from Quinshon Judkins. He's running into loaded boxes. But
yeah, they don't fear the passing game at all whatsoever.
No. And Judkins is still productive, and he constantly falls forward. But they have no fear for the passing game. And I'm not saying that playing Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders is going to instill that fear in the opposition. But the bottom line is, and they use these picks on these guys, like use the 3rd rounder on Gabriel. You use the 5th rounder on Shedeur. You have, this season doesn't seem to have much in the cards for you at quarterback. Start getting a look at these guys, because the reality is you might be bad enough that you are picking high enough to take a quarterback in the next draft. And that's a conversation for our stock watch show on Wednesdays when we review the quarterbacks again.
Right.
But you have to know. You can't go into December and be like, you know what, let's get a look at Gabriel. He wasn't really great for 3 games. Let's get a look at Shedeur for a game. Oh, we're picking 3rd.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah.
That's not a good process. So it's almost time.
I think at the very least, you're starting one of these guys after the bye week in week 10. Yeah. At the latest. Now, you're not going to make the change to one of them this week because you play in London against
no, you can't do that.
The Vikings next week. So they're not going to make a change
Brian
this
Flores.
week.
Yeah.
You could make a change the following week, but then you still have the travel back, and it's a little bit different. So then you're playing Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. I think week 7, when you're hosting the Miami Dolphins and then you go to the New England Patriots, I wonder if one of those 2 weeks in week 7 or 8 is when we go to either Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. So
I think it has to be, because if Gabriel is bad for a couple weeks or looks in over his head, you could use the bye to get Shedeur ready. I don't think they'll do that. Let me make that abundantly clear. But at least it builds in a process that you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think I agree with you, though. It's coming. It's got to be coming. Yeah. So, all right, that was your 8. Tennessee Titans are at 32 for me. This is the worst team in the NFL, and it's not close. You're right. There's not really a. They're in a tier of their own right now. And Cam Ward, I loved this afterwards. Cam Ward after the game, and I quote him, says, "If we're keeping it a buck right now, we ass. We 0-4. At this point, we got nothing to lose. We dropped a quarter of our fucking games, and we have yet to do anything. So we have to lock in." That's what you want your franchise quarterback to say when you are absolutely ass. And he is not wrong. Cam Ward, the whole reason why you drafted him, obviously he's a great talent, but he's also genuine. From everybody that I know from the Titans organization, like, they loved this kid. Loved him. Not only was it not a debate, like, talent-wise of what they were going to do and what quarterback that they were going to pick, there wasn't even like any sort of, back and forth conversation at all once they got to meet this dude. And
that's the key. Remember how it changed? We were at the combine,
yes,
and it was like, hey, the Titans might trade the first overall pick,
yes,
blah, blah, blah. They might take Abdul Carter. They might do this. They might do that. They go through the entire combine process, and all of a sudden, it was an undoubtedly selection of Cam Ward.
And that's why. So on this show last week, we were talking a little bit about Brian Callahan. And since we talked last Monday, he gave up play calling duties to was it the wide receiver coach? Like, it wasn't even the offensive coordinator.
I thought it was the quarterback's coach. Let me
quarterback's
check.
Coach. It might have been the quarterback's coach. Yes, I think. Bo is his first name. Bo something.
Bo Hardigree.
Yes.
He's the quarterback's coach.
So, I mean, you give it to him because he had somewhat of play calling experience before, and I remember on the show. What?
Sorry, this is the result. It's like, yeah, we hired a truck driver because he had some experience before. He might have crashed the truck off the road, but we hired him because it's just like, that's just a tough sell.
Especially when you're 0-4, it's a tough sell. Like, you almost might as well just go to. Anyways, when we were on here, I talked about how I would be shocked if they were thinking about getting rid of Brian Callahan. But then I said, I sort of said that from like the whole reason of why you hire him. But then we brought up the fact that this is the most penalized team in football. They seem incredibly undisciplined. They're not taking steps in the right direction. And now you get in a point where he's giving up play calling. Spoiler alert, he didn't do that voluntarily. The offensive-minded head coach who wanted to come in and call plays and everything, like, he's not doing that voluntarily. They're making him do that. This is you are on your last life. And we are sitting here with them being 0-4, just got shut out by a not great Texans team right now. I think I'm with you. I don't. If I had to bet on it, I don't think Brian Callahan's coaching this team next year. I really don't.
I don't know if he's going to survive this throughout the season.
Yeah. So they are a sell for me. So the Titans are a sell for me. And the Titans are a sell for me at a 3.5 updated over-under win total.
Oh, my goodness.
They went from 5.5 to 3.5.
They don't think they can win. And let me be fair to Bo Hardegree. He was the interim offensive coordinator when Antonio Pierce took over the Raiders. So he was coaching Aiden O'Connell that year. He really did what he could in that situation. So I do want to be fair to him. But this feels like a situation where it's going to be tough to overcome.
Carolina is they're 31 for me. The Titans are 32. Carolina is 31 for me. They're 5.5 over under win total right now. This is a sell for me. They were 6.5 to start the season. Now they're 5.5. I'm still selling this team. I don't know how much faith this organization has in Dave Canales at this point, and
anyone associated with the team.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of hard at this point to have a lot of faith in what Carolina is doing because, like, yeah, they've dealt with some injuries, they've gotten unlucky, but like every team does, man. And I'll tell you what I think the biggest issue is I haven't gone back to watch the all 22 of this past game specifically. I don't think Bryce is the problem. Like, I don't think
But is he the solution?
No, well, okay.
It's hard to tell.
But that's sort of a different question here. The reason why I'm bringing it up in that light is because I don't think Bryce is like the reason why you're losing football games. That's basically what I'm saying.
Right.
If you want to say like, oh, they should have picked Stroud, whatever. Okay, fine. But Bryce is playing at a level that can win you football games. They just can't run the ball. They can't defend over the middle. Their corners are up and down. They can't get after the passer. Their receivers are very inconsistent outside of Tetro and McMillan. They don't really have a lot of depth in that category either. They were supposed to be a team who was able to run the ball pretty effectively, and they just are not at all whatsoever. I think that if you could point to Bryce Young and say, we messed that up. Okay, maybe you all still get canned because you picked the wrong quarterback at number 1. But I think that's a different conversation. I think because Bryce looks okay, now you kind of have to look at the coaching staff and you have to go, do we have the right guys in the building on the coaching staff? Because right now it just doesn't feel like it. It really doesn't. And I felt like it was sort of a risk when they hired Dave Canales because it was his first year as a full-time offensive coordinator with the Buccaneers. He hadn't called plays before that season. So he's sort of like a one-year guy in that regard. Well, he wasn't sort of, he was. And even with the Buccaneers, like, it sort of took them a while in the season for them to really get their groove going. I thought the turnaround that Liam Cohen had and the identity that he was able to instill within the Buccaneers in his 1 year when he was offensive coordinator was much more quick and, how should I say this? Like, he understood how to get the best out of that Buccaneers roster quicker than Dave Canales did.
Right.
So I was always a little skeptical of like, all right, I mean, they're taking a chance on Canales, and I just don't know if he's that guy for this job. And I don't know if he's going to survive this, man. I really don't. Because the Panthers, outside of division games, which it feels like you can beat anybody in your division any week because you know the opponent really well. Outside of playing the Titans, I don't know who gives Carolina a chance against basically any other opponent in the league. That's how I feel about this team right now.
Playing the Falcons again.
But that's what I'm saying is the divisional teams.
Outside the division. Yeah.
I mean, and that includes New Orleans, obviously, which we talked about there. But like even these teams who I have near the bottom, like the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Jets, the Texans, it's just
You would take all of them over the Panthers.
I would take all of them over the Panthers at this point.
Yeah.
Panthers just have not shown me anything in terms of consistency.
And they have a last place schedule, so right? or were they third? Either way, they have a very weak schedule.
No,
the Panthers.
They were last place, right?
Yeah, they had to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they're gonna play a lot of these teams. They're about to play the Dolphins. They're about to play the Jets, the Saints. So
I guess they get to prove it.
You get to prove it, and if you can't even compete with those teams, then it's over.
So I got the Jets at 30, have them at 5.5. Nothing's changing from last week because obviously they haven't played yet. I got them as a hold. New Orleans Saints, I have them as a hold, like we talked about at number 29. Dolphins, I have them still as a sell team at 5.5. But honestly, like I guess that could be a hold. It just depends on what happens on Monday Night Football. Have them at 28. Raiders at 27. Their win total, like we mentioned, went down 1, so they're at 6.5. I have them as a hold. I think that's right around probably what they're going to win, 6-7 games. 26, Houston Texans, 6.5 again for them is their updated over-under win total, which went down 1 from the previous week. That's a hold to me. I was a sell on this team, but now I'm a hold with them right around 6.5 wins. And then
that's low.
And then I have the Giants at 25. And we could just sit and we could just talk about the Giants here. As this last team. They're at 5.5. I kind of think that they're a hold. So Jackson Dart very clearly was what this offense needed. And they needed to go to Jackson Dart, whether he was quote-unquote as ready as you wanted him to be as a passer, because, one, they were at that point in the season with Russell Wilson where there was just no spark. There was no point in putting him out there anymore just because you knew that you weren't going to have a chance in most games unless he's throw over 500 yards like he did in week 2, which is obviously an outlier at this point. But the tempo was there with Jackson Dart. It felt like the energy just from like every point in the team was up from him, which they needed that. The thing that gets me worried about Dart is he carried the ball 10 times in this game. And we've always talked about Brian Daboll sort of having that rushing and passing dual threat quarterback type of player because we feel like that's how he can operate best as a head coach. He's doing that with Dart, and he's leaning into Dart's athleticism in that regard from, not only the play calls, but also what I'm reading in the quotes afterwards, how much they liked him getting involved in the QB rush game and all that kinds of stuff. And obviously he was successful with it, got a handful of first downs, got a touchdown doing that. But he also tweaked his hamstring. He got kind of banged up in this game. So my question is like, is this sustainable? Right. Like, is what you...
he got the snot knocked out of him.
What you clearly want him to do, is that sustainable for him? And he already exited that first start with a little bit of a hamstring injury. Now we'll see how sore he is and where he is on the injury report going into this next game. But clearly the New York Giants are a better football team, a more explosive football team. You have more faith in this offense with him out there, which is great to see. Malik Neighbors tearing his ACL is truly a bummer. Like it's just, I don't know how else to say it other than you had the offense going in the right direction. Dart was giving you sort of that jolt of energy, that jolt of life that you were really looking for. And then your star wide receiver might be out for the season. Like that, there's no other way to say it, but that sucks. That absolutely sucks. But I think that what I'm going to monitor moving forward with this team is, okay, you came out of the gate and you won, when no team had any sort of tape on you or how the offense was going to operate when you were the starting quarterback. Now they've at least got a game out there, and every week that goes on, that's more tape that teams and defensive coordinators around the league have on you and what you're going to do. Can you stay one step ahead? Can you stay healthy? That's the thing that I'm looking forward to seeing from the New York Giants.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it opens up things for them for sure. But like you said, what you have to keep an eye on is protecting this kid almost from himself. But you also can't do that because that's what makes great players great. So it is a weird conundrum. Brian Daboll pressed this button because he needs to save his job. But you also just hope they were responsible enough that, once again, they protect the kid from himself a little bit.
With this being a draft show, I will shout out Abdul Carter. Great game from him. Elite pass rush grade. Drew Phillips, also excellent in this game.
Big bounce back week for Drew Phillips.
And that's, it's just playing corner, right? And I do think...
Yeah, you're going to lose.
I do think that a lot of people forget that you're not going to be a shutdown secondary every single week. Like, it's just not going to happen. Even the best have some weeks where they falter and you go, whoa, what happened? You're playing in the secondary. It's tough. You got alien quarterbacks you're going up against every single week. The league is so good at moving the football through the air. And so as long as you have that potential to play at a very high level. And as long as you get that 2/3 of the time, to me, that signals you've got the right guy at a secondary position, corner, safety, whatever it is. I think asking these guys to be Darrelle Revis or, like Sauce was in the first 2 years of his career, like that's not the bar. That's something that you just appreciate for the outlier that it is. But I noticed that just around, like even the Packers when they played the Cowboys this past weekend, like they didn't look great in the secondary. Like the secondary looked like was a reason why I almost said lost, tied, unfortunately, that game to the Dallas Cowboys. But you just, to me, it's not like oh wow, the sky is falling for the Packers secondary. It just kind of is what it is. It's just a very up and down part of the game. So bringing that back to Drew Phillips, like Drew Phillips is a really talented corner. And as long as he's got this stuff in him and you see it from him most of the time, 60, 70, 80% of the time, whatever it is, you can have games that he's, down a little bit and still feel good about who he is on your team.
All right, 24-17.
Yes, indeed.
Patriots are at 24 for me. They are a hold. They are like the most hold of all teams. Their win total was 8.5. Their win total is still 8.5, and they're 2-2. So, I mean,
there it is.
There it is. The Patriots. Obviously, really good signs from the offense in this game. You want to see it. You want to see them build on it. Is what you want from them. Use the Panthers hopefully as kind of like a get right jumping point. 23. The Houston Texans, who we brought them up, like 9.5 win total before the season. It's down to 6.5. It's gone down in a week. They're 1-3. I'm still selling on the Texans even after this performance, just because the way they have built their team offensively, I think it's just very hard to compete with the above average, and they were expected to. So I just don't think the line's good enough. Everything has kind of been, and hopefully once again, like this can be a jumping point for them. But the point of this show isn't to just react to what just happened. The point is to kind of map out how you view it moving forward. 22, the Cincinnati Bengals. They're a hold for me. They're playing on Monday Night Football. So, once again, we won't talk too much about the teams that have a pending game ahead of them. 21, the Arizona Cardinals are a sell for me. They are at 8.5 for a win total. They're 2-2. I think I said they were a sell last week when they were 2-1 because I haven't found either win very impressive. I credit them for getting back in this game against Seattle, but it's kind of what I said about the Jets the previous week, where you only get so much credit for mounting a comeback in the fourth quarter when you were outplayed for 3 quarters.
Sure.
And then you lost anyway.
Sure.
If you win the game, you get all the credit. But when you're so drastically outplayed for 3 quarters, like, it's hard to really give a ton of praise to a comeback that falls short.
Yeah.
And Arizona, they're without James Conner right now. It's good to see Marv get on track in that second half after a brutal first half, but I don't know. There's just a lot of things that I have said.
That first half just can't happen though, man.
It can't happen.
It just can't happen.
Because Kyler is very inconsistent as a quarterback. So when he makes throws that are juggled into an interception, it feels like it just sinks you. Because you need those plays.
And I agree with you. And where did you have them at?
21.
So I have them at 20, but they're down 4 spots from where I had them last week.
Right.
I agree with you though. Like they went down in win total down to 8.5 from 9.5. I agree with you. I think this is sell team. If I'm buying or selling anything, I'm selling the Arizona Cardinals. Because the exact same thing that I said to you last week on this show. I don't trust them. I don't trust this team. On the weeks that Kyler shows up, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to show up. On the weeks that Trey McBride shows up, Kyler's not going to show up. On the weeks that Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison and Kyler show up, the run game and the offensive line is not going to show up.
It's like golf. They're the golf team.
Something's going to be wrong.
Oh, I could drive today. I could chip today. I've 3-putted every hole. That's the Cardinals.
That is the Arizona Cardinals. Yes. Yes.
20, the Minnesota Vikings. 2-2 in a hold and still at 8.5. This is the point where, like, is quarterback play... It's one thing to say quarterback play could sink this team because McCarthy wasn't very good and Wentz, after a cupcake win, reverted back to, like, chaotic Wentz form. But, Trevor, what concerned me is how easily they were moved off the ball in the run game. Against a Steelers team that hasn't been running the ball against anybody.
Yeah.
They were moved around. So that's something that they got to correct real quick or this will turn into a sell. 19... And I'll stop at this one. real quick. The Cowboys, who are down to 6.5 as their win total from 7.5. They are 1-2-1. They're a hold, but the reason I wanted to stop here was I think it's time to give Brian Schottenheimer a little credit with this team right now, because the disastrous defense, to me, I don't know how much you put on him, right? I get that you are in charge of the staff, but you're not coaching the defense.
Right.
And you are not the owner that traded away Micah Parsons. So Brian Schottenheimer's sole responsibility is, one, getting the most out of an offense right now that is without their best player in CeeDee Lamb. He has Dak playing out of his mind. He has George Pickens about to get a $30 million a year plus contract with how good he's been. They have Javonte Williams totally, like, reinvigorated.
I mean, he's UNC Javonte again, feels
They're
like.
playing with backups on the offensive line that are absolutely passing the eye test.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Schottenheimer was almost a punching line when he got this job. He deserves all the credit in the world. The fact that they're 1-2-1 and they feel like they can compete week in and week out is because of him. Because everything else is a total letdown for him.
Yep.
So he deserves a lot of credit right now, man, and good for him. It felt like a huge tie for the Cowboys in this game.
I mean, it felt like a huge tie, but to be honest with you, like, I walk away from that tie feeling as though the Cowboys won that game more than the Packers.
Me too. I thought the same thing.
So I do agree with you.
18, the Chicago Bears, 2-2. Win total is down to 7.5, or because it was 8.5 before the year. But let me make sure I have that one. Yeah, I want to make sure I had their win total right. So the Bears survive on a blocked field goal. The Raiders are gonna play up to teams, even being a little shorthanded, it feels like, in certain position groups. So for the Bears to finish that game on a great play, it feels like they had a tick of the long snapper. They knew that I saw that they knew he moves the ball a little bit right before he snaps, so they were able to jump the field goal block, which is very good coaching and good preparation and a good sign for the Bears.
What was was it the hand opening part? Was it that? Or because
I don't know
Greg
the exact...
Olsen talked about that in the Steelers-Vikings game. I can't... Oh, no, it was the Vikings kicking an extra point? What was it? I can't even remember if it was an extra point or a field goal. Anyways, I think it was an extra point. It must have been.
They got a penalty for
That's what I'm saying, because the
ball.
Vikings, he pointed it out, and this is great by Greg Olsen, where he's like...
Olsen is a master class.
Everybody,
He's
all of the
audio.
holders, they will look at the center, and then they will flash their hand, and then that's when the ball is supposed to come. But he flashed his hand, and then the center waits a second. Jalen Ramsey comes off the line of scrimmage because he's trying to time the hand. Yeah. So it was, it could have been something like that. Yeah.
17, the Steelers, they are also a hold for me. Preseason win total 8.5, current win total 8.5. The positive for me with the Steelers in this game, even though Greg Olsen, rightfully so, was just shredding into Mike Tomlin's cowardly decision-making, which was inexplicable in this game, and why I am not buying the Steelers. I think the Steelers win 8 games this year. Maybe they win 9. The point of the Steelers this year was to increase their ceiling, and I'm just not confident in that they've done enough to do that. But they're 3-1, and the big thing in this game is that they finally generated movement in the run game. They finally were pushing people off the ball. I think Kenneth Gainwell is one of the most underrated committee backs in football. Feels like every time he gets an elevated role, he's able to hold the fort, no matter where he is. So, but you know, when Jaylen Warren's back, that'll be up to him. That'll be on him to, take on the role in this backfield that over Gainwell. But the Steelers getting some push was big. Tomlin's decision making, oof. They get out with a win, which is all that matters. But it just felt like it was way harder than it had to be again.
Always is, man. I have them lower than this because their margin as a team is so small. It's just so small because of how they play offense and the coaching.
When Rodgers gets hit, like the time he ran and fumbled,
yeah,
you kind of tighten
which is
up
a hilarious
when you're watching.
play.
Oh, hilarious play. He's like, look at the old man go. Yeah. This is crazy. And then he gets smashed and the ball goes 8 feet. It's like, whoa.
But then the O-lineman jumped, or I think it was the O-lineman. Somebody jumped right on it, but then the camera is still wide enough to where Rodgers is laying on the ground and he's just signaling first down after he just got blasted.
Totally nuts.
Which is very funny. All right, so that was 17 for you? Or the
Yeah, it was 17.
Okay. So 24 through 17 for me. I have Cleveland at 24. They were at 24 for me last week. I think that they're a hold at 5.5 wins. I liked them as a buy last week when they were 4.5. Now they're 5.5. They're sitting here at 1-3. We're kind of to the point where I go, all right, Cleveland's not one of the 3 worst teams in the NFL. That's why, we have them ranked where we do. I have them at 24. But I don't know how much higher I can put them than this until they start scoring points. So it's been great to see their rookies play really well. The big concern for me is the Browns' offensive line. And we talked.
It's been a concern for us.
I was about to say, we've talked about this for months now, whether it was for free agency or we figured that it was going to be in the draft. They had to draft an offensive lineman, and they did not at all. And this is one of the least effective offensive lines in the NFL now. It's an older offensive line. The best players on the offensive line are the veterans. It's Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller, but they're not playing at the Pro Bowl level they have before in their career. They're older.
Right.
They're like 33, 34. So,
with injury history.
Yeah. So they're 24 for me. I like what Cleveland has been a good surprise so far, but in order for me to put them higher, you got to probably put one of those rookie quarterbacks in and see what they got. I have the Patriots at 23. I don't really know what to do with the Patriots at this point. I like the win this past week against Carolina was great, but I'm talking about Carolina being one of the worst teams in the NFL. If they're ranked 31, then I don't know how much credit I could really give you. Now, it was great to see them bounce back, and what I specifically liked about this game is, one, they took advantage of Carolina's inability to cover over the middle of the field, really picked on the linebackers a lot, which I liked from Josh McDaniels. I like them recognizing that and being able to do that sort of on command this week. And then also they ran the ball really well. They had 3 guys who averaged over 4 yards per carry. That's how you bounce back in the run game. So I do like that from them. I don't exactly know what to think of them yet. I think they're very up and down, so I have them at 23. The Steelers I have at 22, so I have them lower than you. And it's just because, 8.5 win total, they're sitting here at 3-1. They're a hold for me because I think a world exists where, and this has happened with Mike Tomlin teams before, when they start to lose, the floodgates open. What year was it? Where they just went on such a cold streak to end the year. And it was almost like everybody in the world was sort of see, we told you this was coming. And a lot of people, I know you talked about getting a win is all that matters. And I totally understand what you're saying because a good part of that phrase is true. But projecting them moving forward, I don't look at the Steelers with a lot of fear if I'm an opponent. Rodgers has to get the ball out of his hands extremely quickly. The Vikings really just were not on their P's and Q's on defense, and they let up. I think the Steelers passed for 199 or 200 yards in this past game. 152 of them came after the catch.
DK Metcalf,
right? And one of them was that massive DK Metcalf run.
Yeah,
and you go, okay. This is what I always try to do. I don't say if you take that play out. Don't even take it out. Just make it a good gain. If that DK Metcalf pass was a 15-yard pass, if he got 15, 20 yards after the catch, that'd still be a great play. Right. But it's not the catastrophically blown play that the Vikings have that changes everything. What else did the Steelers do in this game? Nothing on offense.
On offense, right.
Won the turnover-worthy the turnover battle, which is great. Obviously, they ran the ball a little bit better, but I don't know. I know Steelers fans aren't going to be happy with me for this, but I just don't have faith in them to beat a lot of teams in the league at this point, still, from what I've seen. The Bengals I have at number 21, obviously playing on Monday Night Football, sort of how they play this Monday will determine kind of where they're at for
can they be competitive
next week's power rankings, right? I have the Arizona Cardinals at number 20. I have them as a sell team like we talked about there. I just still cannot trust this team. They're very much the golf game of NFL teams. Which, by the way, great showing from the U.S. Ryder Cup team on Sunday. Nothing happened on Saturday and Friday. Didn't watch.
Didn't even know it was going on Friday.
Yeah, I didn't even. I thought the event was only on Sunday, and I saw us play really well. Way to represent the country, boys. Love to see it. The Chicago
They
Bears.
also went full Cardinals. They gave you nothing for 3 quarters and then gave you a comeback that amounted to nothing.
They did. Yeah, unfortunately.
The Cardinals fans, I'm sorry.
Chicago Bears, I have them at number 19. They're up 2 from where I had them last week. I'm still buying them now at 2-2 with a 7.5 win total this season. Falcons, I have at number 18. They're 2-1 on the year. I have them as a hold.
2-2.
Or sorry,
right?
they're 2-2 on the season. Excuse me. I just think the Falcons are going to be a team that's going to be very up and down every week, right? And we talked about this last week. When their rookies on defense play well, this team can win football games. When they're struggling because they're rookies and they're just going to struggle,
right,
they're going to lose. And it's not going to, I don't think it'll look as bad as it does with Carolina, but, they got the kicking woes, which they're still trying to figure out. Just the way that you look at the Falcons this year is very, very volatile. And that's why I think they're just going to float around sort of this middle of the pack for me this season. And I have them at 18 right now after that 2-2 start. Vikings, I have at 17. I have them as a hold. I don't really know what to think about the Vikings because I like the coaching staff a lot. I like their roster at times. Obviously, they got to get things figured out at quarterback. I think Jordan Mason's a good running option. Their passing attack should get better as they were getting a little bit more healthy, and that includes when JJ gets back out there and hopefully plays better than he did in the first 2 weeks. The tough part with the Vikings right now is sort of, you mentioned it, like this. They struggled on the defensive line this past week, and they struggled on the offensive line as well. Like, offensive line was a big issue as they were trying to account for some of the injuries that they've had along the offensive line.
So banged up.
Until we get a couple more weeks here where maybe we get the clearer picture of what the story is in the trenches for them, because that was a big reason why I was so bullish on them going into the season, is because the additions and the changes that they made in the offensive and defensive trenches. But if they're going to be up and down there, or if they're not going to be as solid as we thought, then I kind of have to keep them around this middle of the pack, even as a team that I picked to go to the Super Bowl before the season, because I thought that they were going to be incredible in both trenches, and that just hasn't manifested yet. And then obviously the quarterback ups and downs as well. Washington Commanders, they're 2-2 on the season as well. Over under win total. Oh wait, that was 17 for me. So the Commanders are 16. So I was getting ahead of myself there. Well, sneak peek. There we go. Commanders are 16.
The Atlanta Falcons for me. I agree with you. They're a hold for me because the win total is now 8.5. And I can't sit here and say they're a buy because it's hard to project the 9th win. But there was a lot of good in this game, notably from everything on the offensive side of the ball. The protection in front of Penix was good.
Much
the
better.
Results came.
Much better.
He was throwing decisive lasers pretty much all day. It was as accurate as I've seen him, honestly. It was just laser after laser. Zach Robinson had a much better day after probably a pretty tough week at that facility where they fired their wide receivers coach. They're moving Zach Robinson down from the booth. There was good balance. They would attack outside the numbers. And then there was times where the Commanders would sit in this soft zone and Penix went back to the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. And the wheel route to Bijan was so sick. It was just...
They got to utilize that more, man.
Bijan
the play action. They've just got to utilize that so much more than they had the first 3 weeks of the season. It was good to see them get him heavily involved again like that.
Great week for the Atlanta offense. I just think that's a harsh win total to set. If it was 7.5, I'd buy. And it was 7.5 before the year. It's now 8.5. Mm-hmm. The Commanders at 15 for me are a sell, Trevor. And here's why. Their win total is still 9.5. Mm-hmm. I understand Jaden Daniels is not lost for the year. He's going to be back. I totally get it. But I think it's bigger than that for this team to get to 10 wins. Their next 6 are the Chargers, Bears, Cowboys, Chiefs, Seahawks, Lions. That's a tough stretch here.
Holy cow.
I know that.
Wow.
I know. Right.
That's bad.
It's awful.
So I the sneak peek just said I had them at 16. I had them as a hold at 9.5 simply because of the Jaden Daniels factor. But you saying that, I'm changing that to a sell.
Yeah, I'm selling. You know, I think it's just going to be very hard for this team to get to 10 wins this year.
Because it's not even the quarterback part of it, right? I mean, like, Mariota's fine. It's not like the quarterback play is catastrophic and Jaden Daniels is coming back. It's the secondary. The secondary is getting torched.
That's the thing. You can go through all their injuries to try to blame things that are short term. I don't think the secondary is good enough in the long term.
No, it doesn't
even
feel
when
like it.
healthy. So and it's not like they have a lethal pass rush. Like the teams that have questionable secondaries try to make up for it with a lethal pass rush. 14 for me, the Denver Broncos are an obvious hold. They are playing on Monday night. Then 13 for me, Jacksonville. They're also a hold. They're 3-1. Their win total is 8.5. They are closer to a bye for me as much as they're a hold. I picked them to win the division this year. It's still going to be really challenging because there's a team ahead of them on this from this division, which is pretty jarring. But I'm a believer in Liam Cohen and this team and leaning into Travis Hunter just playing on offense.
Yep.
I think that was a much smarter move for them this week.
Yep.
12, the team they just beat, the San Francisco 49ers. They are a hold. Their win total is still 10.
Wait, you get the Niners one spot ahead of them and they just beat them?
Yeah, but they're still 3-1. The Niners, man, you just wonder how long they can survive the war of attrition right now. I mean, they were without Brock Purdy for a while. They have been. It seems like Ayuk's nowhere close. Kittle's out. You're always worried about McCaffrey. Jawan Jennings could barely ever practice. You lost Nick Bosa for the year.
Dude, they had, I don't know if you saw this, but so they're a sell team for me as well. Just,
yeah, they're really close to a sell right now.
Because they're 3-1, which is obviously good for them to have the 3 wins. But their over under is 10.5. They got to win.
That's my problem.
They got to win
I don't think this
more games.
The schedule is a joke somehow, but not a joke, but it's been lighter.
Yeah.
But still.
Bosa being out for the year is tough because they did so much this offseason to get run stuffers in the building, right? Mykel Williams, he's not a pass rusher. I mean, obviously, he can give you flashes, but
we know what he's good at right
he
now.
is a run-defending defensive end.
Big Al Collins.
Alfred Collins. CJ West. These are run stoppers. You got run stop, and you said we got Nick Bosa, and now we got run stoppers. Well, now you just have run stoppers. They had 0 sacks. They recorded 0 sacks. I think it's for the first time they didn't record a single sack in a game since what was the last game? Anyway, I don't want to mess it up, but it's been a long time. They recorded 2 total pressures in this game and a 19.5% team pass rush win percentage. The middle number, ranked 16th this week, was the Carolina Panthers with a 43.2% pass rush win percentage. The Niners had a 19.5. Not even close. They're not even sniffing the quarterback. That's what partially makes them a sell for me at 10.5. That number at 10.5 it's too much for me, given everything that they've got to overcome still with the injuries.
Yeah, it feels like they need more from. They're going to need a lot from Bryce Huff. He had 3 hurries on 24 pass rush snaps, which is a 21% win rate. Like, Huff is fine. But your first round pick had 2 hurries on 29 snaps. It's a 3.5% win rate. Like, it's kind of feels like, okay, Mykel Williams, like, you got to get going here.
Yeah.
And that might be a lot to ask of him right now. But, yeah, the Niners are a very weird one. And guess what? They play the Rams on a short week on the road.
Not ideal.
So,
not ideal.
11 for me is the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow, so do I. I have them at 11.
I just don't know how we got here. They're 1-3. Here's the thing with the Ravens and why they're a hold. They're not a sell. Despite how bad things have been compared to expectations, can you believe their win total has only dropped to 10.5? They are 1-3.
It's because they have Lamar. If you have Lamar Jackson. If you have an MVP quarterback, Vegas is going to be so slow to drop your win total.
Right, because you could just go on a run where you just simply don't lose. So they have the Texans, Rams, Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, Browns. In theory, the Ravens could rip off a 5-1 stretch here. But they have problems right now. Like, this team does not defend the run very well.
Hey, Connor,
they're flat.
Connor, if they rip off 5-1, which is so hard to do in this league, if they rip off 5-1,
they're 6-4.
They're just 6-4.
So you almost have to.
They're a sell.
Yeah.
They're a sell team for me simply because, like, I'm not saying that they're like a pushover team or they're one of the worst teams in the NFL, but they're a sell for me at 10.5 wins. Because
I think my preseason bias is showing.
No, brother, I picked
feel
them
like
to win the Super Bowl. I picked them to win the Super Bowl.
I'm struggling so hard to let them go, and man, it's looked so bad.
But it's because where the Ravens struggle is so hard to believe. They are, at least they were going into this past week. I don't know how much better it's going to be after this week. I haven't checked. They were dead last in run defense grade as a team, and they were dead last in EPA per rush allowed. Like this defense, and now what? Roquan left the game. Nate Wiggins left the game. Nandi Madubuike is on IR already.
Right.
Like this team's going through a ton of injuries. It does not look like the Ravens that we're used to seeing. It really does not. No,
it doesn't, and it hasn't seemed like a great year for Marlon Humphrey right now either. And you need your great players to be great. So, oh boy, we'll see where that one goes. Number 10 is the Indianapolis Colts, who are up to a 9.5 win total. Mm-hmm. Almost an optimistic loss. Like, I think the Rams are one of the
100%.
I think the Rams are one of the best teams in football, pretty clearly. And there's every argument the Colts should have won this game. Every argument. We talked about what happened with Adonai Mitchell. Now, they didn't. And the Rams are the Rams with Puka Nacua just going nuclear. And when Matthew Stafford needs to make a big play, Tutu Atwell is just running around. It's like totally nuts. But the bottom line is, I think the Colts need to show they can hang with a big dog, like one of the biggest dogs, and they did. So, 9.5 is a big number, but I'm a hold with the Colts, feeling kind of bullish on them right now.
There are certainly times when I completely agree with you. A team can lose and you actually feel better about them. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened with the Indianapolis Colts. They lost this game, and I feel better about them as a team as a whole because of how they played. They're going all the way out into LA. It's a road game. You're playing one of the hottest passing attacks in the NFL. Xavier Howard, I thought, was terrible in this game. And again, like this, it happens playing corner. I don't mean for this to sound like harsher than it needs to, but he was targeted 10 times in this game, gave up 7 receptions, 112 yards, and a touchdown. He gave up 6 first downs. I mean, if Xavier Howard alone played half as bad as what he actually played, Colts probably win this game. They probably go into LA and beat the Rams. So I was very, very impressed about how this team played. I mean, the AD Mitchell fumble out of the back of the end zone. Mitchell also had a holding call that negated a long Jonathan Taylor run.
I think it was 50 yards.
Yeah. So the Colts were right there, man. I agree with you. They're 9 for me. They're a top 10 team. I think the Colts are, after this game, I feel more confident telling you the Colts are legit than I even thought a week ago. So,
yeah, I totally get you having them 9. I think my 10 and 9 are total coin flip here.
Sure.
9 is the Seahawks for me. My last team here. They're a hold because they went up to 9.5 now, which is a lot. But my biggest thing I want to say about the Seahawks is they sit here 3-1. When it's time to close out the game, and Sam Darnold has had a really good game, stop taking the ball out of his hands. Oh, they could have closed out this game against Arizona easily. It felt like 3 or 4 different times. Sam is making every play you've asked of him. He's making plays you didn't ask of him off script. And then you could end the game and you just hand the ball off on third down. I just don't understand. Like, Seattle needs to almost embrace being a good team that has a quarterback. It's like they haven't embraced. They kind of came out of the gate like, okay, we're a solid team, but we're going to keep the training wheels on at times. I think for this team to reach their ceiling, and I have them 9, so I've been very, very impressed with Seattle and what they're building there. Let Sam Darnold try to go win you some games or close out games. That would be my number one thing. And if they start to do that and he proves it right, like what I'm saying here right, then Seattle can win this division, especially what we just talked about with the Niners.
He is playing...
Not win this division because of the Rams, but be like in it till the end of this division.
Right. No. Look, as somebody who had the Seahawks winning this division, go ahead. Keep saying that they can win the division. I agree with you. No.
I mean, would you be shocked? Obviously, you wouldn't be,
right.
But like, it's amazing that, yeah. But I don't like the fear of Sam making a mistake anymore.
Right. No, it's fair.
Arizona should have never had a shot to win this game.
I'll talk a little bit more about the Seahawks because they're one of my teams that I have highlighted. But before we get to my next 8, this PFF betting segment brought to you by our friends over at DraftKings. We're talking about some over-under lines for the season. Obviously, throughout this entire episode, we're giving you our thoughts on buying and selling some of those. You guys can see those over at DraftKings.com or the DraftKings app, obviously. All the lines, of course, subject to changes. We're sort of talking about this show. You know, it obviously changes week to week, all that kinds of stuff. But you can see that for yourself. NFL season, obviously, well underway. It's rolling along. Every single touchdown can bring you closer to payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Every game is another chance to cash in. Don't just watch the action. Now you guys can win with it. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the unmatched intensity of the NFL right to your fingertips. First, touchdown scores, anytime props, the thrill of live in-game betting. Every single snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one's for you. Bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Season's heating up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code PFF. That's promo code PFF to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or just text HOPE-NY. 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problems with gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer is for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. And this is a limited time offer. Within this category, we have the two teams that have risen the furthest and dropped the deepest on my rankings. 16, I have the Washington Commanders. We talked about them a little bit. They're down 3 spots from where they were last week. I'm just getting worried about this defense overall. I'm kind of looking at this team and this roster, and I remember going into last season, and it was the defensive side of the football that I was a little bit skeptical of. I felt like they had some good firepower. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, as the season went on, it just proved how incredible he was. And the defense actually played well last season with the Commanders, but now we're sort of seeing the opposite side of the coin. We're okay, this group played well last year. All right, well, are some of those worries that we maybe had before the 2024 season rearing its ugly head with some of the secondary inconsistencies, some of the lack of speed that maybe they have in the second level at the linebacker level? For as much as I think they've got high IQ play with Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner, is some of that speed lacking for them. They don't really have that difference-making pass rusher. So I'm just worried about the defensive side of the football to where you can even tell me, all right, well, hold on, whoa, Jaden Daniels is coming back. All right, that's good, obviously, but a 9.5 win total is a lot for this team, and I'm just a little bit skeptical of them right now, so I got them at 16. 15, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Where did you have Dallas? You had them a little bit lower. Didn't you have it like 20, I think?
Yeah, I'll pull them up right now. I think I had them 19, but let me make sure.
So they tie the Green Bay Packers.
19.
But it's a tie that kind of like felt like a win, especially when you don't have, especially when Micah Parsons is on the other team and CeeDee Lamb's not playing in this game.
Yeah, everything was stacked against them.
I am buying them at the 6.5 over/under win total that they have been updated at. It was 5.5. Now it is 6.5. It's a little tricky with the tie thrown in there now. It's always weird betting over/under win totals when there's a tie involved, and I think Vegas kind of knows that. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why they're at 15 for me is because if Dak Prescott is playing like this, I don't think you can count Dallas out. Like, look, I thought you put it perfectly. They're not quite there yet when it comes to their pass rushers. They're still dealing with some injuries. Kyer Elam probably shouldn't be a starting corner in the NFL, right? I mean, but outside of that, Brian Schottenheimer's doing everything that he can. I mean, you gave up your best pass rusher, and you're starting a corner that shouldn't be starting in the NFL at one of your outside spots. Yeah, that's gonna hurt every single week. And yet Dak, without CeeDee Lamb, with offensive linemen injured, I mean, he looks phenomenal, man. I have such a hard time betting against Dak when he looks this good and when he has looked this good throughout his career. So I got them at number 15. They're up 4 spots from where I had them last week. 49ers are down 4 spots from where I had them before. Like I said, I think they're a sell candidate at the over-under win total of 10.5. You still can get that if you're listening to this. I just think they got too many injuries that they're trying to overcome. I mentioned I'm really worried about this defensive line and the lack of pressure they're going to be able to produce without Nick Bosa. And I just think it might be an uphill climb for them, even with them still sitting there at 3-1 after the loss to the Jags. Speaking of the Jags, I have them at number 13. They are up 7 spots. The Jags, dude, they might be the Tesla stock of this exercise, where I feel like I will go look at Tesla's stock and it'll be like, oh, Tesla's down 45 points today. Like, oh, Tesla's down like 10% or like something insane. And then the next day, it'll be like, oh, Tesla's up 11% today. Like, it's the most high volatile stock of the ones that I follow in the Magnificent Seven for everybody out there who's involved in the stock market. It's just, it is just so up and down with what they do. And I feel like that might be the Jags this year, where when it looks good, you want to be all in, baby. You want to be, this is going to the moon. The stock is soaring. And then when it looks bad for the Jags, you might be, see, I told you, the roster's not there yet. They're not like, they're lacking talent, all this kinds of stuff. But this week, it's a good Jags week. And, you know, I think they're running the ball extremely well. We talked about it on this show last week, how good Liam Cohen is at scheming up great running, great run schemes. He did that in Tampa. He's doing that now in Jacksonville early on. I think the defense is playing really well. And I love that they're diversifying their offense. You know, it's not just Brian Thomas Jr. It's not just Travis Hunter. It's Brenton Strange. It's Hunter Long. It's Parker Washington. It's Diami Brown. Like, it's a lot of different guys that they're throwing the ball to. So I like the Jaguars. I'm in right now on them. They're 7 spots up, and I think they're a buy at 3-1 with an over-under win total of 8.5 right now. Denver, obviously on Monday Night Football, I have them at number 12, so not much movement there for them because they just didn't play this week. Ravens, we already talked about them a little bit. They are down 7 spots for me from last week, and I'm selling them at 10.5. I just think that they're too beat up right now, and the defensive side of the football, man, it's hard for me to think that they're going to be that much better as a run defense team, especially for the injuries that they've faced. The Seahawks, I have at number 10. I'm believing in this team, man. I've got so much faith in what Mike McDonald is doing, especially on that defensive side of the ball, and I'll tell you, the way that they are utilizing Devon Witherspoon makes me really excited for when Nicky Manwari makes his, I don't want to say makes his debut because he played in week 1, but he played in week 1 and then he hurt his ankle and he hasn't played since. I'm excited to get him back out there because I think people who listen to this podcast know that I wasn't the biggest Nicky Manwari fan in the draft. Connor, I can't remember where you had him ranked if you were super skeptical of him, but
I was. I'll pull it up for you in a second.
I think I had him like in the 60s or something. And there were a lot of people who were like, no. I mean,
48th.
Yeah, okay, so I think we were lower than consensus on where
all you heard all draft week was that he was a first rounder.
Not only that, but like top 20, like you got to pick this guy, defensive chess piece, everything. And I was like, I mean, maybe, but he's got to go to the right spot. But when he got drafted by Seattle, I was like,
yeah, it made
that's
sense.
The right spot. There we go.
Right.
And the way that they're using Devon Witherspoon right now is how I think they want to use Manwari, where, I don't know if you caught this, but like Witherspoon does a lot of his work in the slot, and he does that not only because he's a good cover corner, but also because that allows him to roam and sort of like go wherever. They can
be a disruptor.
They can put him down almost like as an edge rusher at times from that slot position. Yep. There were a couple of plays where he's at the second level as the weak side linebacker. Devon Witherspoon weighs 181 pounds, and they have him as the weak side linebacker because he's fearless and he's flying around everywhere. If you do that, but then you have Nicky Manwari doing it, and then you can kick Witherspoon to play as the outside corner. I know there's been some talk about, Reek Woolen maybe on the trade block or whatever. Like, I'm really excited for where this team could go. I think the ceiling is even a little bit higher. They're even a buy candidate for me at 9.5. So it's a bullish buy, I think, to buy them at 9.5 right now. But I love where they're going. And then I have the Colts at number 9. sitting there with a 9.5 over-under win total as well. We already kind of walked through the fact that even with them losing to the Rams, you got a lot of faith in where this team is going. And a 9.5 over-under win total, and they're already sitting there at 3-1 in the first 4 games of their season. I mean, they look fantastic. It's a division where they're at least getting like one more against the Titans. And then Houston Texans obviously don't look great on their side of things either.
No.
So I'm buying them. I'm buying them at 9.5. I think it's a really good football team, and I think they're only going to keep going up.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. All the way.
8-1?
All right, 8-1. Let's do it here. 8, the Green Bay Packers. They are a 10.5 win total at 2-1-1. They're a hold for me, but here's why. This defense is legitimately on fraud watch. Legitimately right now. Mm-hmm. But man, Trevor, their next 6 are soft. They play the Eagles on November 10th. But besides that, it's Bengals, Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers, Eagles, Giants. I mean, okay, maybe you get into a dogfight against the Steelers. Rodgers gets up for that game, right? But Bengals, you're a better team than the Bengals. You're a better team than the Cardinals. I think you're a better team than the Steelers. You're a way better team than the Panthers. You're a better team than the Giants. Mm-hmm. So, like, I can't sit here and sell the Packers when I truly believe they're going to win at least 4 of their next 6, potentially 5. Mm-hmm. But that's not the point with the Packers. The point of the Packers is this defense good enough when they go play the Eagles, the Cowboys. Like, the secondary just seemed lost in this game.
Yeah.
And
it was their worst game, no question, from the secondary.
But that was the concern coming into the year for Green Bay is the secondary right now. They have speed up front. We know when Mike is rolling how great he could be. But it just feels like there's such a better ceiling in here for them. And you're kind of like, okay, that it was just a bad showing where I'm just on hold right now. I really am. I am. Obviously, Jordan Love can go out and win you any game. Like, he's shown that time and time again. He has that kind of talent. Josh Jacobs is just a battering ram. Mm-hmm. They even got Emmanuel Wilson involved in this game. And he runs really, really hard. But, yeah, I'm a hold on the Packers.
Okay.
It's 10.5. Like, yeah, they should win 11 games, but they could win 10. Tampa Bay Bucks at 7 for me are also a hold because their win total is still really high because of this division. It's 10.5. They're so banged up, but they are trending in the right direction with health. It's kind of amazing they found a way to get themselves back in that game against the Eagles with how bad it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you can't get a block punt for a touchdown against the champs. You're not.
No, especially when you're wounded as is. Right, so you're not playing with your full strength team to overcome that.
That was a game where my opinion on the Eagles has not changed the entire year. They're one of the most talented teams in the NFL. They can absolutely win the Super Bowl again. But I think that the margin for error for them is much smaller than what it was on a game-by-game basis last year. And I think this game was another, piece of evidence toward that. They block Tampa's first punt and they return it for a touchdown. You're already up 7-0. To the Eagles' credit, they really played well and were ready for the pressures that Todd Bowles was dialing up in the first half of this game. Now, in the second half, Bowles and the Bucs, I think, completely adjusted, and the Eagles couldn't really handle it. So the Eagles...
No, they couldn't do much anything.
I don't think the Eagles completed a pass in the second half. I don't think they completed a single pass in the second half of this game. And that's how Tampa's able to march back the way that they are. And so, this is a game that at the end of it, I go, hey, Eagles, big win on the road. Huge win for them to go up in Tampa and beat a coordinator and a coach that kind of has their number in a way where a lot of teams, well, basically no other team in the NFL does. So it was a great job by Philly to be able to do that. But I also thought that given Tampa's, honestly, special teams woes, and then the injuries that they're going through, this was a similar situation to the Rams and the Colts to me, where I leave this game and I go, yep, 2 good football teams, 2 really good football teams. They play 10 times, they probably split. So that's sort of just how I felt about that game. So I can understand where you're coming from there.
Number 6, the Kansas City Chiefs, who I'll circle back to in this group. They are a buy for me. 5, the Rams. They're a hold. 4 for me, the Chargers. They're a hold. Just a tough game for the Chargers. I didn't really take away anything overly concerning from it. 3, the Detroit Lions, who I'm buying on. Now, yes, the win total. The thing is, it's a weird one because I bought them heavily everywhere when the win total went down to 9.5. Now it's up to 11.5. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm just pouring more stock into 11.5. But it's more of I fully believe in this team.
Sure.
And the week 1 mirage gave everybody the elite chance to buy the dip. Now the market has overcorrect. Like 11.5 is insane for any team at this point in the season.
Right.
But the point is the Lions are who we thought they are, and there was a little chance there to get in on a just a ridiculous dip. The Bills at 2. They're hilarious because their win total is 13.5, and like you really shouldn't be afraid of it. They're just unchallenged with this schedule, with this division. They didn't even play their best football against the Saints defensively, and it didn't really matter that much. 1, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not moving the Eagles from this spot. I've said before, what I love about them is they win football games in every different way. They know how to win football games on any of the 3 phases, and you talked about the blocked punt setting the tone yesterday. Even in a game where they didn't do anything in the second half throwing the ball. The Chiefs, I will close on of my group. Totally different team with Xavier Worthy.
Yes. Yep.
Completely. The way they stress the defense horizontally and vertically with Xavier Worthy's speed showed me that, like, man, when Rashee Rice is back, the Chiefs are going to be a problem again. And that's why I'm buying. The fact that their win total is 10.5, it was a preseason 11.5, so you're still getting a discount because they're 2-2. I think Mahomes looks awesome this year. He really does. The way he's moving. Obviously, you got to see all the throws yesterday. I think they're only getting stronger over time. And the Chiefs are a team that if they have to make a move at the deadline, I think Veach will make a move at the deadline to shore up some of their shortcomings. But, man, it just goes to show you when they're not playing so shorthanded on offense, how dangerous they can be. And they're only getting more reinforcements with Rashee Rice. So I am buying the Chiefs right now. You just can't kill them. Every time you think they're dead, they're like a starfish. They just grow another limb. And it's the time to get in because this win total will jump back up to its preseason 11.5 before you know it.
Yeah, they're the offense looked the way that it is supposed to this past week.
Schematically, how it's built.
Yes, it was so much more in line with, I think, what they were planning for this offense to be. Now, weird to say this about the Ravens. Ravens are one of the worst defenses in the league right now, especially at making the hard things look easy, or even the easy things look easy, honestly, just from like running the ball and everything. The Ravens are playing so poorly right now on the defensive side of the football. Part of me wants to just see the Chiefs continue to do this in a game where, let's face it. You're playing the Ravens, you're playing Lamar. It's in Arrowhead, and the loser of this game goes to 1-3. There's basically zero lack of motivation in this game. This is as close to a playoff game as the Chiefs are going to get in the month of September. So them getting up for this game and playing their absolute best, not really a surprise to me. I'd like to see it because I'm a hold at the 10.5 mark for them because I want to see them continue this sort of offense down the road. But you are totally right. The second the fine folks in Las Vegas, Nevada can move that number back up to 11.5, they are. So
the fine folks.
Yeah, I gotta,
only the classiest.
I gotta give them, gotta give them their shout out there. If you are bullish on the Chiefs right now, you should get on in this number at 10.5. This is kind of just a big year of me for the Chiefs to say, I'm kind of just going to sit back and watch. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the show. But like you said, if you are bullish on them in any way, shape, or form, you could very easily convince yourself that this number is going to go to 11.5 sooner.
It's the Lions, right? It's the Lions of 2 weeks ago.
Basically.
Yeah. You buy now or you're just opting out entirely. Because you don't want to, you don't want to be buying 11.5 win total.
All right, so I'll get to my top 8 in a second. Before I get to that, there's some things school doesn't teach you, right? Like how to handle the financial world or, having a plan to make you successful for the future later. That includes about your kids. Fabric makes it easy for you to set up an investment account for your child. And that will grow with them and helps prepare them for a good financial future. Fabric by Gerber Life was designed by parents for parents to make it easy to plan for and manage your family's financial path. With a kids investment account for Fabric, you guys can start investing in your child's future today. Kids can't invest while there's minors, but this UGMA Kids Investment Account allows you to invest on their behalf. It gives their investment so much more time to grow. All the funds can be used for anything. Maybe when they're kids, it's tuition, it's books, it's summer camps, it's after-school activities, sports, things like that. And then when they're adults, maybe you're helping them buy their first car, first house, start a business, whatever that looks like. Whole thing is online. Setting up an account could take you as little as just 5 minutes. You can get started investing with as little as $1 a day, and then you just manage your child's account and monitor those investments right from your phone. No contribution limits to it. It's got multiple tax advantages. Funds are SIPC insured with $500,000. Plus, there's no commission fees to it. Just a low, flat monthly maintenance fee. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Start investing in your child's future today at meetfabric.com/stock exchange. That's meetfabric.com/stock exchange, MEET, fabric.com/stock exchange. The portfolios are managed by Fort Washington Investment Advisors Incorporated. Additional services provided by Apex Clearing Corporation. All investing is subject to risk. You can learn more at meetfabric.com. 8-1 for me. Kansas City Chiefs, I have at number 8. Kind of just went through them. I have them as a whole. They're up 3 spots from where they were last week. They look good. Let's continue to see it moving forward, and I think that we could very well see them in the top 5 again soon. Chargers are at 7 for me. They were at 7 last week, so this didn't change, even despite the loss to the Giants. I actually picked on the PFF show for the Giants to win that game outright.
Nice call.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I kind of felt like the offense with Dart was going to be so different than it was with Russ. And for as much as you go like, oh, it's a rookie, as long as you don't think he's going to crap his pants, then you instead just have a talented quarterback who there's no tape on. None. And I think
right.
that means a lot. And again, if you don't think that the quarterback is just not going to look ready for the moment, well, then all of a sudden, I absolutely think the more stress is on the defensive coordinator. Because all of a sudden, you got Jackson Dart coming out here running RPOs and QB powers and all this kinds of stuff, and the defense coordinator is like, all right, didn't see that on tape. so
right.
you don't really know what you're doing. So
the first drive was just that example.
Exactly.
Of that.
So I think the Chargers defined Joel high ankle sprain, right? From what I saw, it wasn't anything that was like season ending, but obviously not great with him and Rashawn Slater now out at the tackle spot. So got the Chargers at 7. I still think they're a really good team. Still have them as a hold at 11.5 of a win total. That 11.5 number is a high one. Buccaneers at 10.5 of a win total. I have it number 6. Down 1 spot from where they were last week. I got the Rams up 1 spot at number 5. 10.5 win total. I think this is a buy for me. I am buying the Rams now at 3-1 at that 10.5 win total. I thought the Rams could have been a candidate as a team to not make the playoffs this year, but when I said that preseason, it's because I had a lot of unknown about Matthew Stafford's back. Anytime we get that much chatter and that much mystery around a back injury with a quarterback who's well into his 30s, I get nervous. But he doesn't look like he is hurt at all. Instead, he looks like he is playing at an MVP caliber level. So I am buying them over 10.5 at number 5 here. Detroit Lions, I have them up 4 spots this week. I have them at number 4, that 11.5 win total you mentioned. I think that's a hold. You're right. I think the buy opportunity was last week when it was at 9.5. Now 11.5 is, that's a big number. But really good football team at 3-1. The only team that has beat them, the Green Bay Packers, I still have the Packers at number 3. I think the Packers are riding a roller coaster right now. I think that right before the season, trading for Micah Parsons, the high that was there, opening up the season at home, defeating the Detroit Lions, just all of the hype was just, they were just on cloud 9, and now they're coming off of it a little bit. I think the truth of this team is that they're a really good football team, that it's a little bit more volatile than you want a Super Bowl contender to be, but one whose ceiling is still as high as anybody in the NFL. So I am still on the higher side of things for the Green Bay Packers, knowing that it is a long season ahead of us. Their over-under win total dropped 1 from 11.5 to 10.5. I kind of think that's where they're going to be. 10, 11, 12, something like that. And so I have them as a hold for now, But if I was going to be anything on the Packers, with me obviously having them as number 3 in my power ranking, I would be a buy at that 10.5 number. So again, I'm officially a hold on them, but could absolutely change that to a buy if I'm really buying in on what that ceiling is, which I think is still there. Philly, I still have at number 2, like I mentioned. It's a team that you mentioned it. They can beat anybody in a variety of different ways. I get a little bit nervous about this team with the margin for error a little bit smaller than what it was last year, but it is still absolutely one of the best teams in the NFL. They're the defending champs for a reason. They could absolutely repeat. Their over-under win total went up from 11.5 to 12.5 now. They're a hold for me in that regard, but they are up 1 spot to be in that number 2 spot in my power rankings this week. And then the Buffalo Bills at number 1. Currently 4-0, undefeated, 13.5 over-under win total. That's a hold for me. They lead the NFL, Connor, in average time of possession. The team just there is no team in the NFL that imposes their will more than the Buffalo Bills right now. And I think that's the part that makes them really scary. Is we talk about Josh Allen, we talk about the offensive line, we could talk about the potency of the passing attack and all of that stuff. But James Conner continues to be on fire. 8 straight games with a rushing touchdown. That is what's most impressive. Is that when the Buffalo Bills need to ramp it up and beat you in a 40-41 shootout, 40-42 shootout, whatever week 1 was, I can't remember what the final score was, they can absolutely do that. When they need to slow down the game and salt things away in the run game, they can absolutely do that. I would be terrified to play this team because of how much control they have when the ball is in their hands. Not just score points, but score points in a manner that serves them best, taking up however much time they want, whether it's 30 seconds or whether it's 13 minutes. I know they haven't had to drive 13 minutes long, but you know what I'm saying. This team is so good. So I got the Buffalo Bills at number 1.
And they were without Spencer Brown.
I know. Yeah.
Like that's right. It's just kind of emphasizes the point. And I know his presence was missed, but still, he's going to be back, and they're even more dangerous. It's ridiculous.
Damn good football team. Okay, give me your 32-1 real quick, and then we'll get out of here.
All right, the Titans at 32, the Panthers at 31, the Saints at 30, the Jets at 29, the Dolphins at 28. They have Monday Night Football tonight. 27, the Giants. 26, the Browns. 25, the Las Vegas Raiders. 24, the Patriots. 23, the Texans. 22, the Bengals. 21, the Cardinals. 20, the Vikings. 19, Cowboys. 18, the Bears. 17, the Steelers. 16, the Falcons. Big bounce back week for Michael Penix. 15, the Washington Commanders, who they beat. 14, the Denver Broncos, who are on Monday Night Football as well in the doubleheader. 13, Jacksonville Jaguars with a big win over number 12, the San Francisco 49ers. 11, the Ravens, who are plummeting down these rankings. 10, the Colts, who did a lot of good in a loss against the Rams. 9, the Seahawks. 8, the Green Bay Packers. 7, the Bucks. 6, the Chiefs, who I'm buying on right now. 5, the Rams. 4, the Chargers. 3, the Detroit Lions. 2, the Buffalo Bills. And still at the top, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I got the Titans at 32, Panthers at 31, Jets at 30, Saints 29, Dolphins 28, Raiders 27, Texans 26, Giants 25, Browns 24, Patriots 23, Steelers 22, Bengals 21, Cardinals 20, Bears 19, Falcons 18, Vikings 17, Commanders 16, Cowboys 15, 49ers 14, Jaguars 13, Denver Broncos 12, Ravens 11, Seahawks 10, Colts 9, Chiefs 8, Chargers 7, Bucks 6, Rams 5, Lions 4, Packers 3, Eagles 2, Bills 1. We'd love to hear from you guys as well. Any thoughts on the format as we're now 2 weeks in a row? Anything you would like to see new or added or a better way to talk about these conversations? All suggestions are welcome. We'd, of course, love to hear your takes on your own teams, whether you think that we have them in the right spot, the wrong spot, just your independent views of where your team is or where you think they are going, the over-under win total, whatever it is. Best way to do that, youtube.com/NFL Stock Exchange. Get in on the comments section. We would love to hear from all you guys. If you want to follow the show, at NFLSC Show on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, at Tampa Bay Trey, at Connor J. Rogers on those as well. Instagram and Twitter are the main ones there. On Wednesday, we're going to have an updated big board episode for you. Connor and I are going to be updating our top 50s for the 2026 NFL draft. We're going to be going through all of that good stuff, and I'm going to be updating the mock draft simulator as well, which if you guys don't have a PFF Plus subscription, by the way, NFLSE 25, that's how you get 25% off a PFF Plus subscription. And the reason why I bring that up is because I'm updating the MDS big board, the predictive big board, which has, I think, 470 players on it now. So you guys can do as many 7-round mock drafts as your heart desires if you have that PFF sub. So if you don't have one yet, now's a great time to get one because it's a year-long subscription. You can use it during draft season as well, which we know you guys are going to use. But do it if you don't have one, NFLSE 25, it gets you 25% off right now. So why not get it right now, get that extra discount, and get that 25% off. Connor, anything else before we get out of here?
I think that sums it up. I got to get cranking on this big board, man. I've been slowly hammering away, but I'm watching tape on a lot of new players that we've been.
I know.
It's, I don't want to miss anybody. It's been a wild amount of change. I feel like this year. It's just weird. Summer scouting this year, a lot of the players that popped on summer scouting tape felt like they got off to a slow start. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of new names that have totally popped in the first month of the year. And I'm trying to balance like overreaction and not like, here's a perfect example who got off to a slow start now is Nuclear. Look at Jeremiah Love right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's guys like you have Caden Proctor out here getting wide receiver screens. But
Love that.
It's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm pumped for it.
know.
Get back to kind of like the meat and potatoes of our show.
This year, more than any other year, I've watched a lot of new guys before I've gotten to what our summer scouting rankings were. I think over the first 4 weeks, I think I've added 40 new names to my top 250. And that's simply because like there are new players standing out so much more than a lot of the guys that we mentioned during summer scouting. So there's a good chance that the top 50 that we talk about on Wednesday, there's going to be a lot of new names that weren't in our summer scouting top 50, not just because they didn't make the list, but because like they maybe weren't even on the radar at all. And we get to talk about them and they might even crack our top 50 now.
I'll tell you what hasn't changed. Our number one wide receivers have gone off all the time. Mekhi Lemon for you and Jordan Tyson for me. Every single week, those guys are just putting on superstar performances.
I mean, just a little bit of a sneak peek in the teaser. I've got Tyson at wide receiver 1 now. But that's not because I moved Lemon down. Like Lemon is still right outside of my top 10. But Tyson's had some plays where you watch it and you go, that's an NFL wide receiver 1. Like that, you don't even have to. You barely even need imagination. You just need the jersey swap. That's it. He's doing all the stuff that you would think a wide receiver 1 in the NFL is doing. So that's a little bit of a sneak peek of kind of what we'll be talking about on Wednesday. Very excited to get to that episode. Hope you guys tune in for that. For Connor Rogers, I'm Trevor Sikkema, saying thank you guys so much for once again watching and listening to the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. See you guys on Wednesday.